So we're talking to Camella today from Tropic of Cancer. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Okay, so tell us a little bit about Tropic of Cancer, the band members, because I know that there's been some changes. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I guess from an outside point of view, it probably looks like we shape shift a lot, so it deserves an explanation. So the band started a few years ago, well, back in 2007 with Juan Mendez and I. And we did the band for, a few years, and then as things got rolling, and especially with the release of The Sorrow of Two Blooms on Blackest Ever Black, it just came to a point. Sorry, someone just popped up online. Can you hear that when it does that?
I did hear the little thing, but it didn't.
Change my settings next time. So with that record release, just came a lot more kind of, I guess for lack of a better word, attention to the band. And so it came to a point where, he had a lot of projects going on as well. So it was time for us to, we still work together to some degree, but he's not as involved in like the live shows and creating the music and things like that. So, we'll probably talk about this later, but we went, on tour in Europe. So I brought on a really good friend of mine, this girl named Taylor Birch, and she is in the band called Devad Moss. And they're also on Downwards, which is they released some of our records too. So it's kind of like one big happy family. We're a little bit of a traveling like circus at this point. But she's going to be playing with me, for the unforeseeable future, I guess. That sounds really like dark and gloomy, but it's actually a good thing.
Yeah.
So, it's been really cool.
So what role is she playing in the shows?
So I guess if you've ever seen one of our live shows, or it's funny because people make comments about it all the time, and I didn't realize until people made comments about it that usually you have like a standard like, this person plays drums, and this person plays guitar, and this person plays keyboard, but because of the nature of the way that I guess I, at this point, compose the songs, it's just me. And so we kind of do, like, shifting around, one song I'll play bass, and she'll play keyboard, or vice versa, like, I'll play guitar, and she'll play bass guitar. So we're always kind of changing roles, which is a little weird, I guess. I didn't start thinking about it until people made comments about it, But
it's kind of nice too. It's
yeah, you never get tired of what you do. I mean, and that comes from just like from a composition standpoint. When I create the music, there's only certain parts of the songs that I can play while I'm singing.
Mm-hmm.
So depending on the structure of the song, like, if the bass is doing the rhythm and it goes along with how the vocals go, then I can play bass. But if not, then I have to, play keyboards or whatever and just do accents and stuff. So that's getting into a lot of detail, but it's basically why we always are trading back and forth. So
that's nice. I think that can give it a nice feel as well.
Yeah.
So you had your album release last year, which was an accidental album release. Do you want to talk about what that was about and how that came together?
Yeah. So when we went on tour, the tour came together really quickly. We were asked by HTRK, which is pronounced Hate Rock, a band from Australia, to go on tour with them. We had done some West Coast dates with them and stuff. And so this tour just came together really fast, and it really wasn't, we were more of a support band. So we didn't really have a lot of merchandise, because our records had sold out. And so we really didn't have anything to sell. So, I got to a point where I was just kind of, brainstorming like, what can we sell? Should we make t-shirts? Should we make buttons to try and, help finance part of the tour? And then I just realized that we had a lot of unreleased material that Juan and I had created for, the past few years. So I just kind of randomly threw that all together. And a lot of it was stuff that was never really intended to be released, which is why it's such a, I guess, relief and a surprise that it, has done so well. So, and that people actually saw it as an album. That was really just, that was just really great. So, we just threw that together into CD and brought it along on tour, not expecting that, anything would come out of it. So it's been really nice that it's gotten a lot of attention.
And did you put that out through just through yourself? Like, if people want to get a copy of it, how do they? Yeah,
we worked with the label Downwards that put out Be Brave and The Dull Age, some of our early records. We actually, I'm really close with Carl O'Connor, who runs the label, and we're all really close. Mm-hmm. So, when we came to him with the need for the CD, he was like, no questions asked, let's just put it out, let's just see what happens. Mm-hmm. And so that was really great. I mean, we couldn't have done it without him, financially and stuff, so that was really cool that he kind of backed us. And so it's actually properly on the Downwards label.
Okay, so people can get a hold of it there, and the End of All Things. And on iTunes too?
That one is actually only available on Boomkat, which is Boomkat. And then iTunes has The Sorrow of Two Blooms. You can get that on iTunes. But I guess the whole Downwards catalog in the next few months is going to be available on iTunes, so it'll just be a little bit of
time. Yeah. So we're recording this in January 2012. So if somebody's listening to this in the future, they can still get it through iTunes.
Yeah.
Okay. So the End of All Things, and now we have the new beginning now with upcoming releases of you and the stuff that you're composing yourself. And so there's a bit of a transition there as well in the writing process, from, writing with somebody else and going to doing it yourself. So how do you find that transition?
It's just to be honest, it's a lot more difficult, for me. Just from I guess before it used to feel a lot more spontaneous. Mm-hmm. And now I think it's good and it's more difficult at the same time because I have to think about the compositions a lot more because it's just me, and thinking, now that I've been on tour, and that we've been playing live a lot, there's also a lot more to consider since I'm by myself, it's just me and another person on stage and, how is this going to come across? Yeah. Who's going to play what. So it's really great, because I've never...
Drawing from your own reserves to
Yeah, and it's really fun to be able to kind of, to carry on that sound, It's really interesting to see the way that it's affected when it's just, one person doing it all. And I think, the core of it, I've been working specifically a lot on it the past, few weeks, and the core of it is really there.
Yeah.
So that's really great to see that, we can still maintain that sound, or I can still maintain. I still say we all the time because it feels like a we.
Yeah.
But,
it's a greater sound. Sometimes once the sound's been created and a feel's been created for something, it's like a greater thing that it has its own mood and its own feel.
I think that's what I really appreciate about it, is that I can sit down and start working, and it's like, it's real, there's a real sound that just is gonna, it's gonna live on, and that was, I think, the scariest thing when Juan and I decided, to part ways, creatively. There was a huge fear, that, is this going to change things? Is this going to make everything different? But I think the way that we kind of set it up, it's just, it didn't change much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sorry. Was that you or me?
That was me. I just had a contact. So just so that everyone knows, we're Skyping today. And we get little contact.
Skype happens.
It does. So, so Juan's role hasn't been completely removed though from the band, he's still actually working with some production elements of what you're doing now. So do you record any of it alone, or is all of it taken with him? Or is it just whatever works for the song?
I think for now, the stuff that I've been working on, it started with him as far as like a rhythm goes, a beat goes.
Mm-hmm.
There's a very distinct kind of beat sound to Tropic of Cancer. So, and he's really good at, laying those down and just making sure they're, like I said, really true to what we've done. That's a really kind of difficult thing for me to do. I'm more naturally drawn to like the tonal elements and the vocals and the guitar especially. So, it kind of starts there with him, and then sometimes I've used this instrument called an omnichord that has a built-in drum machine, and that's what we used on some of our original releases. The Dole just kind of like this really loud, booming, kind of almost sleigh bell sounding beat. So one of the songs actually has that, just because it was a situation where I just started on something. But I think it still remains to be seen just like how involved he's going to be. But for now it's pretty minimal, but enough to just at least like still kind of keep things together. We still have that relationship a little bit.
So do you record these pieces once all of that's done, in your own space and
I actually work right here.
Okay, this is where the magic happens.
This is where the magic happens. I won't turn the computer on so you can see the mess that is my area. But like last night I had everything kind of laid out over here. But this is my desk, and I just kind of set up a controller, a keyboard, and then, have a mic stand and just drop it over here. And I mean, I literally just work at my desk, and, we don't really have a studio, and I don't really have anywhere to record. So that's a little bit of a challenge, but it's also like super comfortable.
I feel like sometimes like, when you record something in your own space, it has this way of like picking up the mood of the space or the mood that you're in or something like that a lot more. I think when you get into really complicated recording processes, you have to like work really hard to recreate that space again instead of it already organically just being there.
Yeah, it's true. It's also like, it's one of those things like, you don't have to leave, you're not like, today I'm going to go to the studio and spend this amount of time in the studio. So in a way you have to be a little more disciplined too, because you have to kind of treat that space as like I work.
Sacred workspace.
Yeah, it's like my workspace. I don't, if I'm going to work here, it's like set it up, break it down.
Yeah.
It's very like formulaic.
Yeah. So. And you did just do a tour though, and you were back in November. Mm-hmm. It was November. So how was that? Did you have favorite places that you went to? Because it was through Europe that you went.
Yeah. It was, it was so fun. It was like, when you're in it, it feels really difficult, because you're tired, and, you're always kind of like worried about the next city and how the shows are going to go and how the crowd's going to be. Is anyone going to show up? But, as a whole, when I look back on it, I just like, my mind just completely romanticizes the experience, and it was really great. I mean, we started off in the UK. We just had one show in London, and then we were like all over Paris and had a couple shows in Paris and Belgium, Prague, Vienna, Berlin, Stockholm, and I'm probably forgetting another city, but we were just kind of hopping all over the place, and it's like
Italy.
Yeah, Italy. Yes, we were in Rome for 12 hours. Thank you for reminding me. That was actually a really great show. We did a showcase for the label Mannequin Records, which is putting on our next single, which will be out here in the next couple of months. So it was really great to meet Alessandro, who runs the label, and did a little showcase for him. So that was really cool. And we were only in Rome for 12 hours, but it was packed.
Good hours.
Yeah, it's really.
And I think you were saying one of your favorite shows that you've ever done was it Paris that you was?
Paris was really great. And I think I think I was telling you before, like every time we would have a good show, we'd be like, yes, this city is great. And when we would have a bad show, we'd be like, oh. So the Paris shows had there was a lot of pressure because we knew we were doing that, it's going to be that thing where like, if we leave here, show wasn't good, we're not going to have good memories of Paris. So I think we just like tried really hard to have good shows there, but the crowds were just like so engaging, they were just like really just feeding off of us, and there was so much energy and so much like enthusiasm. And then another place where we had a really amazing show was in Stockholm, of all places.
Oh, yeah, you were saying.
Yeah. We played in, like, this tiny little restaurant, and it was one of those nights where both of us were just, like, super tired. I think that's when we had flown in from Rome. Mm-hmm. It had been, like, we were in Paris in the morning, then we played a show in Rome that night, and then from right after the show, we, like, hopped on an airplane to Stockholm, and we got to Stockholm at, like, 7 in the morning. And all these people were like going to work, and we were like dragging our equipment on the street. But so we were super tired, and we just really felt like, oh, this is going to be a terrible show because we were just not mentally like, we're just exhausted. But it ended up being like, and it was all the crowd, it was just all the way kind of like just, seeing their faces and interacting with them, and just like the energy is everything,
I think it's funny sometimes when you least expect it that the best things happen.
Yeah. It's really true.
Yeah. Like the mind relaxes and there it is.
Yeah. I distinctly remember the girl who put the show on, it was these two girls, and they were both named Josephine, and they were just like amazing. And so, there was a little bit of pressure because we were like, oh, we really want to have a good show for the promoter, because when you respect the promoter, you're always like wanting, to give them a great show and have a good turnout. So it was one of those things where we, at the end of the night, we just walked outside and we were like, okay. So.
That sounds really nice. So you're planning, you got the tour planned for like later in the year to go back there? Is that right?
Yeah, we're
thinking about it, contemplating the plan.
Yeah, for now I'm just like, oh gosh, I can't even imagine like doing this so soon again. But we it'll probably be sometime around October or November. We're gonna get another kind of little European tour together. It might be a little more kind of like, I guess like, I don't know, we might just try to stick to kind of the bigger cities.
Well, now that you've been and you've had the chance to feel things out, you can plan it according to what you resonated most with.
Yeah, I think I think just for the sake of, the amount of travel that's involved in getting to, like, small cities and stuff, but sometimes those are also, like, the best shows.
Yeah.
You're, like, in a small little town, and you didn't even know that people cared,
Yeah. Have you got plans for a US tour at all, or shows in other cities here?
Yeah,
that people can look out for?
We might have some stuff coming up. We're just like in really like preliminary kind of discussions about doing some support for a band all along the West Coast and the East Coast. So we might try to do that around September or so, and then maybe, wait a few weeks and then go on the European tour. So I can't make any kind of formal announcement about it, but we are talking about it.
Yeah. So people can keep up to date though with your touring plans through Facebook and the Bandcamp. Tropicofcancer.bandcamp.
Yes.
Right. Yep. People can check out, or just check in, and if they like you on Facebook, though, and you do post updates, then people will find out about it as well. So, like Tropic of Cancer on Facebook for updates on tour dates. But I know that you've got the show in Los Angeles. What's the date of that again? It's the Sunday.
That one it's for Part-Time Punks at the Echo, and it's Sunday, February 12th. It's a My Bloody Valentine tribute night, or cover night, I guess. And so every band, we're playing with a band called Grimble Grumble. I think they're from Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And then another band called Weekend. And so we're opening up. We open up the night, I think we go on probably about 9:30 or 10. So everybody's included a couple of My Bloody Valentine covers in their set. So I was just working on our covers yesterday. So
Yeah.
it'll be fun. I mean,
it sounds like a fun show.
Yeah.
Everybody in LA should check that out at the Echo on Sunday, the 12th of February, and I'll definitely be there as well.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I can't wait. I love My Bloody Valentine too.
Yeah, it's interesting to turn, their songs into Tropic of Cancer songs.
Yeah. But sometimes that's the most interesting way to have a cover, because how the original goes. So having something that has, a different take on the melody. Yeah. Actually, I find sometimes you realize how good a song is when you hear it done in a different way like that.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, I mean, we practiced last week. We had our first, My Bloody Valentine night practice.
Yeah.
We got one of the songs down really well, but it's definitely different. I mean, there's melodies that are changing, and we didn't want to take it so literally.
Yeah.
We're both kind of putting it together, like Taylor and I. She's been a lot of help. She's really amazing. She's kind of helping me put stuff together for that too. So we definitely have a different, we're re-envisioning it or reimagining it. Yeah.
That sounds awesome. That sounds really fun.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a fun night.
Cool.
So on to inspirations and those such things. I wanted to ask you what kind of things, gave you inspiration for Tropic of Cancer. And it doesn't have to be music. It can be anything, that does inspire you.
I think from the start, it's usually, themes that are happening within my own life, I guess,
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes me really self-centered.
No, I think that's perfect because
it's kind of hard when you don't, I don't know. It's
I think all themes are kind of universal anyway. I mean, somebody experiencing something. I mean, we're all part of the world and human nature, and we have some kind of commonality in how we process things and.
Yeah.
I think that's what ends up speaking to people the most on an emotional level is when they can relate to the themes when they're honestly based on something that you've got that emotional connection with, and then
I think you can really hear that. I mean, as a listener, when I hear other people's music, I mean that's why we identify. So I think. Yeah, for me, it's one of those things where it's like, it's not necessarily like, oh, I'm going through something, let me make music. But, for like a lot of the times, sometimes I am a little hesitant to make music because every time I start making music, it puts me into this definite head state where I start kind of pulling out all of these things that are, going on or have gone on or things that I'm like thinking about or feeling.
Yeah.
So like a lot of the hesitation sometimes it's just like, it's almost like therapy. It's like, do I really want to open that?
Yeah.
Right now, or like, do I really want to go there today?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that's primarily, why I've always been drawn to music as a listener and, as someone creatively who makes music at this point, because it's just really cathartic and I don't know if that obviously doesn't really make someone selfish, but
I don't think it does at all. I think, I think that's drawing on the real stuff,
Yeah. To be one of those people that really, I know there's a lot of people that create like a lot of, like they'll think a lot about their songs and think a lot about their music before they actually make the music.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas for me, it's more like it's just always in the moment. And I think that it probably has a lot to do with like the fact that I haven't been making music on my own for a very long time. I mean, it's only been a few years. So it's not, it's not as calculated as it seems, I guess.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like it should be at times.
Yeah. I think that's nice though. I mean, I think, you know, people approach it from different, people approach things from different levels. Some are more visual first, you know, and some are more like, theme-based first, and then other people are more gut-based, you know, first. And I think that it's not an experience, it's not how long you've been doing it, but rather what your natural inclination goes with.
Right.
You know, I notice that, you know, a lot in people, the way people talk as well. Like some people say I see or I think, and other people say I feel, and, you know, I think that's a natural thing. So it's more of a feeling driven thing for you.
Yeah, but it's when I start working, I definitely fall into a narrative though. Like there's certain, you know, things that just start like, you know, coming out, and I try to tell a story, whatever that story is that's going on. It's really strange. It's almost like being in a little bit of a trance or something, and just go into this kind of like other world. And it's like I enter with my feelings, and then it's almost like I create a story out of what's going on that's beyond my own personal story, I guess. Hard to explain.
Yeah. So like it's like your own personal mythology that you enter into.
Very true. Full of, you know, human weakness and heroic. My dog is jumping on me right now, if you can't tell. He always knows the perfect time to interrupt conversation. He has something to say.
I'm curious to, what kind of dog is it? Oh my goodness! Hello! Hello!
He has a little spray collar on so that he doesn't bark. Alright, go away.
What's his name?
His name is Gizmo. And he definitely lives up to the name, that's for sure.
That's so cute.
Anyway, sorry about that.
No, go for it. So you find a narration that's outside of the necessarily things that are going on. It develops its own life form.
Yeah, but I think that's part of that's like part of the, I guess, the healing part, you know, is that you can create something, you know, a story or something, a narrative that maybe someone else can relate to, or you know, vice versa through the way that you're feeling. And it's I don't know, it's really, I guess that's just, it's never very calculated for me. It's just always like falling into the rabbit hole a little bit, like what's going to happen today, you know, what is this going to pull out today?
Yeah.
So
that's really awesome. That's kind of awesome that you have the chance to explore that, doing it on your own now too, you know.
Yeah, no, it's definitely great. I mean, I think having it on my own, a lot of the times, like, Juan wouldn't be a big part of the vocals or anything like that, so I did a lot of that on my own to begin with, but now it's like really, you know, on my own, so it's interesting.
Yeah. So do you have any favorite like books or movies or?
Yeah, I read a lot, so you know, all my life I've been a big reader, but I think specifically things that influence me are probably like poetry, a lot of like Arthur Rimbaud, who wrote Season in Hell, which I just, you know, love. And the first time I even heard about who he was through Patti Smith. She's like a huge Arthur Rimbaud fan. So I've read a lot of that stuff, and just, you know, D.H. Lawrence and this author, Una Kazern, is just really great, super kind of visceral storytelling and narratives that unfortunately were based on, you know, real vivid pain. But yeah, there's just a lot of kind of like that kind of stuff. I like a lot of surreal kind of film, like I think we talked about it for Maya Deren.
Yeah.
Amazing filmmaker. God, she can't even believe that stuff was done so long ago.
Yeah. She's like a primary influence for everyone, basically.
Right. Exactly. exactly. It's great. So yeah, that just kind of like, I guess the
like
aesthetic.
exploring the darker sort of
Yeah.
visceral.
Yeah, it has a lot to do with imagery for me too. You know, the imagery that these artists and writers are capable of creating.
Yeah.
That creates that, you know, narrative is just like, or reinforces that narrative is just, you know, it's just amazing and beautiful and constantly inspired by those types of things. So.
Yeah. Do you have favorite? Is there music that has inspired you a lot as well? Is music are music influences the thing that made you go towards making music yourself, or was it the other way around? Or, I don't know. What got you into making music? I guess.
I guess just being a really huge music fan.
Mm-hmm. So
yeah, it was kind of. It's been inevitable my whole life. I've always known, you know, at some point in my life, I know that I'll make music, and so it's almost like this, you know, manifestation of all the things that I always kind of was moving toward, you know, as a listener, as someone who really, you know, appreciates music, and, you know, I've even spent time as a, you know, music journalist, and, you know, all my life growing up when I was a kid was in choir, and, you know, so I was one of those kids in choir in Catholic school wearing robes, and,
I was
you know, so it's, were you?
Mm-hmm. I relate to that one. I got made fun of a little.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The holy the holy tunes.
Those religious motifs, and growing up in that, you know, just reading the Bible and learning about Jesus all the time and stuff like that, just really kind of, God, that narrative it's creative in itself. You know?
It is. And it's very dark as well, and very
super dark.
Yeah.
Super dark.
It's really quite beautiful, actually, if you step back from the dogma a little. Can really appreciate the aesthetic of it.
Mm-hmm. So that's, it's always kind of been, I guess, bubbling
your life.
Surface, and it's just, you know, kind of fortuitous meeting other people who, you know, could really, that I could collaborate with, and who really helped me, you know, kind of learn how to play instruments and things like that. I mean, I never picked up a guitar until, you know, 4 or 5 years ago, and then it was like, you know, just really inherent. It just felt like this is right. You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, but singing was the thing that actually you were already involved in before that. So it's something that you've done, obviously, since school years. And So on this, I mean, because your music's so beautiful and dark, and I don't know. I can't think of any other other beautiful and dark, just kind of, and all encompassing and moody, you know, and it is like a bit like when you're listening to it, it's the space that you can go into in the dark and just kind of, you know, feel into a different world. So on this darker note, what's your favorite monster?
My favorite is definitely, it would be a water monster, and it's the creature from the Black Lagoon is definitely my favorite. Mm-hmm. I'm a big fan of monsters in general.
Yeah.
So I that's another thing, you know, all growing up, like I've really been into like a lot of kind of, you know, horror films, and not any, you know, I don't like the gore or the blood, but it's more of like the kind of slow burning, moody, you know, Nosferatu type of films, just like all my life, and Hitchcock and stuff like that. So, the creature from the Black Lagoon has nothing to do with Hitchcock, but he or she would be my favorite monster, I think.
Yeah. I think we were talking about this before, how the ocean is like symbolizes the unconscious, you know, in symbology. And
right.
it's like the darker, unknown, mysterious realms of the psyche, and actually water is the element for emotion as well. So.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it is. In all things Wicca and, Native American, anything shaman or Wicca, or it's the he's chiming in with the with agreements. Yeah, it's the water. It's the water element that governs the feeling realm. So yeah, in dream symbology, water is the unconscious as well as feelings. So
that's really interesting because I'm really. Hold on one second. This is why he wears a little collar. Obviously, I need a studio. I need my own office. I think that has a lot to do with kind of because I have a fear of bodies of water. I don't like to swim in deep water.
Yeah.
Not for fear of drowning, it's just for fear of anything that could be hiding beneath the surface.
Yes.
So that's probably why.
Yeah.
Scary.
Symbolically, that's
that's
about
me. I don't know. Might say something about my psyche lurking down there that I'm not ready to face, I guess.
I think I have a fear of I think it's something that haunts everyone, just like the unknown and the things. I think what we're scared of is kind of what we're drawn to, I think it holds mystery and allure to us, because even with that, it's your music has that kind of feel too of the mysterious and the unknown and the mood and the emotion and, the parts of the psyche and stuff like that, and the stuff, the filmmakers that you like and the horror films and all of that. So I think it's always interesting how it's what we're scared of is kind of what we're attracted to and kind of shows us about ourselves in some way.
I've thought a lot about that, over the years, because just, I've had, as I'm sure a lot of people have wrestled a lot with, death and what's next and, believing in higher powers and whatnot. So I'm always drawn to these kind of narratives that attempt to explain what's happening or what happens to you when you die or who's coming for you or next, and so those are just the things that I'm always fixated on. And I think it has everything to do with what, comes out creatively for sure.
Yeah. I wanted to mention as well, you have your blog that you do as well, which is just, it's so cool. And so is that just a way for you to have some kind of form of scrapbook online or diary online?
Yeah, I think that it really started out that way. I mean, it was just kind of like a place to put things, and I tend to be a little bit scatterbrained. So I forget, I'll forget things, I'll, forget movies I saw or, forget books, pictures, images online and stuff. So I just, or, who the photographer is. So I would just always use that as a way to catalog kind of things that I was into. And so it just became a habit, and, I think I started it back when I was doing a lot of, writing and a lot of music journalism. So I was putting that kind of stuff there and stuff. So it is kind of random.
Yeah, but there's lots of stuff. I mean, there's stuff that you can, there's really cool artwork and there's really cool, artists that people might not know about there and films, and it's really interesting and really nice. What's the address of that?
That is obviously www. It's called ladiesandgentsauxiliary.com.
Okay. I'll put a link to it on the website page that has this interview on it too. But if you're listening on the radio right now, it's once again ladiesandgentsauxiliary.com. Yeah. I was wondering, I didn't know whether there was a blog spot in there or not.
Again, when I named it, never thought anyone would read it, so it's like the most ridiculous long name ever.
Well, I like it. It's ladies and gentlemen, auxiliary.
Ladies and gents, auxiliary.
Sorry. I had to go ahead and make it even more complicated.
This law.
Yeah, but if you're watching this video right now, you'll see the link to it below. So
I'll have to update. I don't think I've updated since November.
Oh, really? Do you manage to update? I start stuff like that, and then I'm so bad at following through consistently. How long has it been since you've been doing it?
Oh, I've done that blog for, gosh, I think it's been just about as long as I've been doing the band, so like 2007. Wow. Yeah. And I think the reason why I don't post as regularly just because I don't just throw stuff up there. I usually like to kind of write, what it is. This is whoever the, photographer is or whatever, and write who they are and about them and give links and stuff like that. So it's just always like,
I have to go through there and find, go through all the different old blog posts and everything up there is quality and worth checking out.
Thanks. I have to update now. I brought something.
So we've got some Tropic of Cancer playing throughout this show, and people can check out the record on Boomcat and iTunes and all of that. We'll have links, and check out updates on Bandcamp and like you on Facebook to get more updates. If you're in the LA area, check out the Part-Time Punks show on the 12th of February on Sunday. That's at the Echo. And keep up to date with tours through liking the band page. But it's amazing to talk to you.
Oh, thank you. You too. It's a pleasure.
Hopefully we can get you on to do some songs live on the video too. But stay tuned now for more Tropic of Cancer. Thank you so much, Camella.
Thank you.